If you look at change, that's quite an effort for an organization and all the individuals involved. That means changing habits, investing time in activities like training, getting used to new processes, getting used to new IT. And at the end, it also means the disruption of being in a comfort zone you have been in for a long time. It might come with insecurity, even fear that your job is being covered by IT in the future. So, where is your place? Many things are involved in change. And if you look at it, it's at the end, it's something the people involved compare to what they do today, not knowing what the business processes and software will look like in the future and what their position will be in the future. What can we do and how do we approach this change? It's very important to approach the key stakeholders, particularly the ones from the business, and invite them on the journey of change. That means actively ask them to be part of the team, be involved, and jointly form and define the future they will live in. To make this really tangible, it's important to get away from pure conceptual approaches towards working with the reality. What it brings to the table is that we help such projects to start with a pre-implemented system. We call this FrontLoad of the project, insights into how people will work in the future. In the project, the team will work along the system. It will look at business processes. It will see how the future will look like. They can create proposals. They can criticize what they see, so that can be changed and adjusted. The system will help to eliminate complexity. And by that, it will also help to eliminate resistance for change. That's a huge challenge you find in projects, and that is often caused by a project being set up by starting with a conceptual exercise where all the participants require strong imagination skills. That also means you are in an involved business domain. So often you have sales involved, procurement involved, finance involved, so many different domains. Also, from an IT perspective, you have SAP, but also non SAP systems involved in such a project. And cases of creating a template and rolling this out to subsidiaries, then even regional differences, which lead to additional requirements. Those projects are full of complexity, and it's important to find the right approach to handle those. As said, we start with a front-load pre-implemented system that is based on SAP provided best practices for the industry. What we do is enrich this environment with data that comes from this company. So when we go into the system, we see business processes being presented to the project team that comes with the data. So let me do an example. If you work with a company that's creating air conditioner, it doesn't make sense to show them a company in the system that produces bicycle. So they can react to that system and to what they see immediately if this is what they do on a daily basis already today. What we bring in addition is a navigation tool that allows the customer to understand what is in this system. It comes with a compelling set of documentation, and that starts with what is the company structure, what's the organization structure, what are the roles involved. Then maybe on the finance side, how does a template chart of account look like? What is the profit and cost center structure? Because you need to understand when you go through business processes. You have master data, you have documentation on the business processes like flow charts, step-by-step instructions, how you would then navigate in an SAP environment. So all this information available in this navigation tool helps the project team to understand what will change in the future and how to deal with challenges. Exposing those processes to the project team should immediately trigger reactions to why this process will not work. In those reactions, we can do immediate refinements in the system and come back to the customers with those refined processes. The changes apply to what they expected and also what additional changes need to be done. So what is also very important is to identify and document the assumptions and the decisions throughout those discussions, because that will be important later on when you explain the new setup to all the people that will work with that, why you have designed the process as such. So documentation of those assumptions and decisions is very, very helpful at a later stage in the project. It's important to track the impact of the project team and the foundation we put in place with a front load approach. It's amazing to see the effects when we start a project with a version 1 of the future reality of the people. It's so much easier to start with a version 1 instead of creating something on a blank sheet of paper. In addition, it immediately provokes criticism, which means there's an implicit agreement to which aspects of version 1 are already okay. So the remaining time of the project, you only spend on those aspects that needs to be adjusted and needs to be refined in the system. As a result, you see you're much, much faster in approaching your project. You see immediately that misunderstandings are being identified much, much earlier, as well as communicating requirements, missed requirements will not be an issue at a later stage. As a result of that, in order to track the impact, you see you will have much less number of change requests in such a project. And since those change requests come in a much earlier stage than in a traditional project, the cost related to such change requests are normally much, much smaller. In addition, and it's even most important point, the customer has the chance to track that the value, the expected value of such an implementation is being achieved, and the outcome that what the customer was hoping is being achieved through such a project. So there will be no compromises compared to a traditional project in regards to testing or documentation at a later stage. There is enough time to prepare for change management, to implement and run change management activities, to make sure that training is in place, the organization is in place, a clear understanding who needs to do what, and you can then prepare your organization for what will be changed in the future. So I believe there are a few aspects that are very relevant to be prioritized early and that will help to avoid any late stage surprises. The most important thing is to start with a system instead of a conceptual approach. Having the reality in front of the project team will help to understand what will you get in the future. That will help to manage expectation, but also will help to understand what needs to be changed. Number two, it will definitely help to put the business in the driver's seat. Often large transformation projects are IT driven, but the business is the customer. If the customer is in the driver's seat for such a transformation, you will get the right outcome at the end. In addition, you need to find an approach that is centered around business processes. It's not about IT, it's about the business of the company. If you look at reports, a report alone doesn't bring any value. A report it does only bring value if it triggers, if the insights of a report triggers insight and triggers actions, so that eventually turns into a new business process again. So this is important. All the activities need to be centered along business processes. But last but not least, early availability of your future reality, of the business processes in a system environment helps to start subsequent project activities much earlier, including testing, data migration, but most importantly, organizational change management activities to be prepared, to be executed, and also to be reviewed if the organization is ready for the change ahead of them.